Welcome to Literary Insights. This is the summary of the book Feel Good Productivity, How to Do More of What Matters to You, Ali Abdaal. If you like this content, please consider subscribing and liking this video. The author was working as a junior doctor on Christmas Day alone on a busy hospital ward, feeling overwhelmed and struggling with productivity. This made them question the traditional productivity advice they had followed of working harder and suffering now. They realized this approach was burning them out and not sustainable. During medical school, the author studied psychology and was introduced to the candor problem experiment, which showed positive mood enhances creativity. This led the author to research on how positive emotions broaden our thinking and build cognitive and social resources over time. The broaden and build theory proposes positive emotions fuel human flourishing by opening our mind to more possibilities in the short term and building resources like resilience in the long run. The author began developing an alternative approach called feel-good productivity focused on well-being, driving focus and motivation, rather than exhausting hard work. They hope to better understand making hard work feel better through this framework. The article discusses the benefits of positive emotions and feel-good productivity. It argues that positive emotions are important for cognitive functioning, social relationships, and overall well-being. Positive emotions fuel human flourishing by broadening our mindset and building enduring personal resources. They increase our energy levels through hormones like endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. This creates a virtuous cycle where feeling good boosts productivity, leading to more positive feelings. Positive emotions also help reduce stress by undoing the physiological effects of stress hormones. Experiments show people recover faster from anxiety-inducing tasks if they experience positive emotions afterwards. Importantly, regularly experiencing positive emotions leads to long-term success, not just temporary boosts in mood. Large studies found positive people accomplished more professionally and personally over time. The author describes how discovering this research transformed their approach to work as a doctor, making long shifts more enjoyable. They now want to share these principles to help others balance success and well-being through feel-good productivity. The book will provide strategies to energize oneself, overcome procrastination, and sustain motivation long-term by managing burnout risks, all through integrating more positive emotions into daily life and work. The goal is a new philosophy rather than another productivity system. The book promotes the idea of feel-good productivity, which applies the principles of play to work and life in order to increase enjoyment and achievement. It aims to make the reader an amateur productivity scientist by presenting science-backed ideas and experiments to try. The chapter discusses how the physicist Richard Feynman overcame boredom with his work by choosing to play with physics problems purely for fun rather than importance. This led him to discoveries that won a Nobel Prize. Other Nobel laureates also attributed their success to a playful approach. Psychological research shows that play provides mental restoration and is key to true productivity. It makes life fun and relieves stress. The chapter urges bringing more adventure into life, as research found people who took more adventurous routes felt happier. It presents an experiment to choose a character, like in role-playing games, to approach life's challenges in a playful spirit. The goal is to harness the excitement and engagement we had as curious children exploring the world. The passage discusses how World of Warcraft was extremely addictive for the author as a 14-year-old, spending 3 hours per day or 25% of their waking hours playing. While the basic gameplay mechanics were initially fun, they lose their appeal over time. The true appeal was the escapism, being able to enter an alternative vivid world as a different character, rather than as their true self. It discusses research by Dr. Stuart Brown on the psychology of play. Play allows people to take on different roles and express different aspects of themselves. It transforms experiences into something more enjoyable. Brown identified 8 play personalities, types of character play people are drawn to, such as collector, competitor, explorer, creator, etc. Identifying which one resonates most can help people approach their work and life with more of a sense of playful adventure. Embracing curiosity also builds adventure. One study found people recalled facts 30% better if they were curious about it, and their brains received a hit of dopamine, making them feel good and better at learning. Seeking out side quests allows space for curiosity each day. Angsup's experiments on rats showed that feeling joy and being engaged comes not just from higher cognitive brain regions, but also more ancient parts of the brain associated with emotions like dopamine release. This suggests activities we find inherently fun can promote happiness. The author describes using this insight by rewatching Mary Poppins and focusing on the song "A Spoonful of Sugar." This led them to try and find fun and playfulness in stressful tasks like medical studying by adding music. They created an experiment using the question, "What would this look like if it were fun?" and a post-it note to guide incorporating more enjoyment. This helped make tasks more engaging through small changes like studying to music. Another way to find fun is to focus on enjoying the process rather than just the outcome, as climbers seem to demonstrate. The psychologist Csikszentmihalyi's work on flow also supports this approach. The story of Matthew Dix finding joy in subtly upselling sauce at a mundane McDonald's job demonstrates how focusing on small process improvements can enhance enjoyment even in unpleasant situations. In summary, the key takeaways are finding innate fun activities, asking how to make tasks more fun, focusing on enjoy the process rather than just the outcome, and looking for small ways to subtly improve routine processes. This can help promote playfulness and engagement. Researchers found that when rats were restrained in a stressful situation, they stopped playing and huddled together instead of playing. However, their play behavior returned to normal levels after an hour. Similar studies on humans and workers found that people are more likely to play and be creative when they feel relaxed and comfortable, rather than stressed. These studies show that stress reduces playfulness and creativity. To encourage play, we need to create a low-stakes, relaxing environment. An experiment by NASA engineer Mark Rober showed that simply framing failures differently had a big impact. Those told they lost points for errors tried half as many times but had a higher success rate than those just told they failed. Rober argues we should see failures as learning experiences and data points rather than something to fear. This can help reduce stress and promote a playful approach to life's challenges. Philosopher Alan Watts said to be sincere, not serious. We should engage fully but not get too fixated on winning or rules. Being sincere rather than serious can help approach life and work with more ease and playfulness. Approaching problems or tasks with levity and playfulness, rather than seriousness, can help reduce stress and make the process more enjoyable. This was illustrated by references to writing a book with humor or treating surgery as fun. Lowering the stakes and not viewing every problem as critically important can help incorporate more fun and lightheartedness. Taking failures less seriously can also help reduce stress. The overall message is that seriousness is overrated and incorporating a sense of play can help one achieve more without burning out. Approaching things with curiosity and seeing opportunities for unexpected discoveries, rather than with pressure, can facilitate both enjoyment and productivity. Self-efficacy refers to one's confidence in their own abilities. Research shows higher self-efficacy leads to better performance. Self-efficacy is more malleable than expected. It can be taught and boosted through simple techniques. 2 techniques identified by Bandura are verbal persuasion, positive self-talk, and vicarious mastery experiences, seeing others succeed at similar tasks. Experiments show positive self-talk can significantly improve performance on tasks like cycling. Just framing ourselves as confident can flip a confidence switch. Watching a role model complete a similar task, like climbing a wall, boosts self-efficacy through vicarious mastery. Knowing a task can be completed makes one feel they can do it too. Consuming content from role models, like podcasts about physicians or entrepreneurs, provides these vicarious experiences and increases confidence in one's own abilities. Simple techniques grounded in social psychology can meaningfully boost self-efficacy. The articles talks about different ways people can build their confidence and sense of empowerment through learning experiences. One way is through vicarious mastery experiences, learning from the successes of others by listening to their stories of overcoming challenges. If others can succeed, it boosts one's own belief that they can too. Another way is through inactive mastery experiences, building skills through direct practice and repetition. Stories are given of characters like Anakin Skywalker, Katniss Everdeen and Aang who start off inexperienced but gain mastery through their journeys. This shows how skills can be developed over time. The concept of Shoshin or beginner's mind from Zen Buddhism is discussed. Maintaining a beginner's open and curious approach can help one continue learning even as an expert. The protégé effect is explained, where teaching a subject to someone else enhances one's own understanding of it. Taking on a teaching role in areas one has skills in, like mentoring others, is recommended to boost learning. Taking ownership and feeling in control is intrinsically motivating. Even when you can't control the whole situation, you can try to take ownership of parts of it, like the process. Filet-O-Fish 1066 automated his boring software testing job without his boss knowing, allowing him to spend years doing very little work but still getting paid. While not ideal, it shows finding ownership within constraints. When you can't control the situation, focus on owning the process, how you accomplish tasks even if the tasks are given. For example, a teacher can own how they teach despite a set curriculum. Your mindset also matters. Own your perspective by focusing on how your work helps others, rather than feeling resentment about tasks. Intrinsic motivation comes from within by seeing meaning and purpose in your work. The key message is that a sense of ownership, autonomy and control over parts of our work increases intrinsic motivation, even when full control is not possible. Taking ownership of aspects like the process and your mindset can help boost engagement. Relational energy refers to the positive feeling and increased energy we get from interacting with other people. Some people energize us while others drain our energy. Brian Eno's chance meeting with musician Andy McKay led him to discover an exciting music scene in the 1970s that launched his successful career. Being part of this scene or collective of artists pushing each other creatively was important. The author notes experiencing a similar benefit from being part of the medical school community, rather than feeling isolated or in competition. Building a sense of senius into our daily lives starts with shifting to a comrade mindset, seeing our relationships not just as dividing up tasks but as a state of thinking of ourselves as part of the same team. This psychological state of teamwork can help access support from others that we couldn't achieve alone, unlike a competitive individual mindset that sees life as win-lose. So in summary, the key is surrounding ourselves with energizing people through discovering and participating in collaborative communities or scenes of like-minded individuals, and cultivating a comrade mindset of teamwork over individual competition. Certain people and environments can boost our energy and creativity. Researchers conducted an experiment where participants worked on puzzles either individually or were told another participant provided a helpful tip, to test the impact of feeling like one is working alone versus as part of a team. Those who felt they received help from another participant worked 48% longer, indicating a comrade mindset boosted motivation. Even working alone, one can adopt a comrade mindset by thinking of others working towards the same goal. The study provides strategies to shift one's thinking from a competitive to collaborative mindset. A separate study found that when participants tapped rhythms together, in sync, they were more willing to donate money to each other, showing how synchrony fosters feelings of togetherness. Finding ways to work in sync with others can boost productivity even if separate tasks. Volunteering and helping others provides a helper's high as feel-good hormones are released, leaving one energized for hours. This offers a way to leverage the motivational power of others through random acts of kindness towards coworkers, family, etc. The key idea is that considering and helping others, even in small ways, can significantly boost one's own motivation and feelings of well-being through psychological and biological mechanisms like adopting a comrade mindset, feeling synchronous with others, and experiencing the helper's high. Here are the key points. Acts of kindness, even small ones, can have a positive impact on relationships and overall well-being. Examples mentioned include letting someone go ahead in line, writing a thank you note for a small favor. Asking for help from others can benefit both the person asking and the person helping, based on Benjamin Franklin's experience. When he borrowed a book from an opponent, it improved their relationship unexpectedly. To effectively ask for help, frame the request positively by emphasizing the person's qualifications to help, ask in person rather than virtually, and avoid negative language or transactions. The goal is to make the person feel as good about helping as you feel about getting help. Over-communication, beyond what you think is sufficient, is important for shared understanding and positive relationships. It involves deliberately sharing more information than you think is needed. One way to over-communicate positively is to actively and constructively share good news with others. Responding enthusiastically to others' good news strengthens relationships and increases happiness for both parties. The key message is that small acts of kindness, asking for help constructively, and over-communicating good news can have unintended positive impacts on relationships and well-being. Over-communication of both good and bad news is important for building connections with others and inspiring positive change. However, being honest can sometimes feel like a lose-lose if it's too blunt or makes people defensive. The solution is to communicate in a radically candid way by caring about the person but directly addressing any issues. This means focusing on facts, tangible outcomes, and collaborative solutions rather than personal judgments. When delivering negative feedback, root the analysis in objective, non-judgmental terms by sticking to facts rather than subjective labels. Explain tangible consequences and provide alternative actions rather than just criticism. This brings people together constructively even when the news is unpleasant. Overcommunication and radical candor require genuine care for others, challenging issues respectfully, and working together on solutions rather than assuming you know best or attacking people personally. It's about having difficult discussions in a way that improves relationships and outcomes. The key takeaway is that communicating both good and bad news is important for inspiring positive change, but it's best done in a spirit of collaboration, empathy, and solutions rather than moralizing, personal attacks, or submissive lies. Radical candor provides a framework for delivering all kinds of feedback productively. The passage discusses different approaches to overcoming procrastination, motivation, discipline, and the unblock method. Motivation and discipline focus on ignoring feelings of not wanting to do something and just doing it anyway. However, this does not address the underlying causes of procrastination. The unblock method encourages understanding why negative feelings like uncertainty, fear, or inertia are making a task unappealing. It aims to tackle the root causes of procrastination. A common cause of procrastination is the fog of uncertainty, not knowing exactly what needs to be done. This can paralyze action and make tasks seem overwhelming. Uncertainty leads to higher anxiety through processes like overestimating threats, hypervigilance, inability to recognize safety cues, and avoidance behaviors. This cycle can perpetuate procrastination. The passage argues the key to lifting uncertainty is asking why, clarifying the ultimate purpose and reasons for embarking on a project to provide needed clarity and direction. So in summary, it discusses different approaches to overcoming procrastination and argues the most effective is addressing underlying negative feelings through clarifying goals and purposes, not just relying on willpower. The passage discusses the concept of commander's intent and how understanding the overarching purpose or why can help provide clarity and direction even when detailed plans go awry. It gives the example of D-Day, where although many specific plans went wrong, the troops were still able to accomplish their strategic objectives because the overall purpose of the mission was clear. The author argues that applying commander's intent to one's own life by identifying the ultimate purpose before embarking on projects can prevent getting bogged down in irrelevant tasks and help stay focused on what really matters. Some techniques discussed for maintaining focus on the higher level why include regularly asking oneself what the purpose is, and using a variation of the 5 whys method to determine if potential tasks actually support the overall objective. The passage also addresses how once the why is identified, it needs to be translated into more concrete actions or goals, and gives the example from the office of a situation where someone didn't understand the specific what they were being asked to do. In summary, it advocates applying the military concept of commander's intent to provide clarity and direction by first establishing the overarching purpose or reason before planning specific actions and tasks. Setting specific, measurable goals can increase performance but can also have negative consequences like tunnel vision and reducing intrinsic motivation. Nice goals are an alternative approach that are near-term, input-based, controllable, and energizing. They focus on the process rather than distant outcomes. The crystal ball method involves imagining potential obstacles 1 week in the future to identify what could go wrong and mitigate risks before they derail plans. This increases the likelihood of success. Asking when is crucial for time management. If someone doesn't know when they will do something, they likely won't do it. Implementation intentions involve committing to specific plans about where and when tasks will be done to increase follow-through. The key ideas are that specific goals can demotivate while process-focused nice goals keep motivation high. Envisioning potential obstacles and making concrete plans for when and where tasks will occur helps overcome intentions, action, and time management barriers to getting started on goals and tasks. Participants were split into 2 groups and given Fitbit devices to track their daily step counts over 5 weeks. The first group just received the Fitbit with no other instructions. The second group received the Fitbit and daily prompts via email asking them to identify time slots in their schedule to add steps and be more active. After 5 weeks, the first group saw little change in their step counts. However, the second group that received the daily prompts increased their average daily steps from 7,000 to almost 9,000. These daily prompts are called implementation intentions and work by building moments for the new behavior into your daily routine through if-then statements like if I get up, then I will take a walk. Implementation intentions have been shown in numerous studies to significantly impact long-term behavior change by strengthening the mental representation of when to perform a behavior. They make it so you don't have to think about doing something, you just do it. The amygdala hijack refers to when the amygdala interprets a perceived threat even when there is no serious threat present. This triggers feelings of fear and avoidance. Fear is a major blocker that stems from the amygdala hijack. When facing challenges, deadlines, exams, etc., the amygdala perceives these as threats, even if rationally we know delaying will increase stress. The simplest response is to do nothing and procrastinate. Common fears that lead to procrastination include fear of rejection, social anxiety, lack of confidence in one's skills or talents. Procrastination stems from fear, not actual lack of ability. To overcome fear and procrastination requires finding courage to look at our fears, acknowledge them, and move past them. The goal is developing courage, not completely removing fears. The first step is getting to know our fears through effective labeling, describing our emotions out loud. This increases self-awareness of emotional patterns and reduces rumination. Identity labels we give ourselves can also increase fear and procrastination through a self-fulfilling prophecy. Positive labels can counter this. A lifelong learner is constantly seeking new ways to improve themselves and never gets stuck in procrastination for long. When we feel procrastination creeping in, we often identify too strongly with negative labels like chronic procrastinator. Changing to more positive self-labels, like someone who meets deadlines, can help change our behavior. Fear and self-doubt are major causes of procrastination. The October 10 rule helps gain perspective by asking if something will matter in 10 minutes, 10 weeks, or 10 years to realize worries aren't as significant as they seem. Self-confidence can be framed as perception of ability minus perception of standards. Doubt arises when we feel ability is lower than what's required. We can rebalance this by realizing we don't need full confidence to start. Making any progress is better than procrastinating due to lack of confidence. The key ideas are using self-labeling, perspective-gaining techniques like October 10, and recognizing we don't need perfect confidence to begin in order to overcome procrastination driven by fear, doubt, and negative self-talk. The article discusses techniques for overcoming fear, such as creating an alter ego. Adele found success by channeling her confident and fearless persona Sasha Carter when performing. Adopting an alter ego allows one to distance themselves psychologically from their fears. It also discusses the spotlight effect. People tend to overestimate how much others are noticing and judging them. In reality, others are mostly focused on themselves. Remembering that no one cares about small mistakes can help reduce anxiety. The idea of an alter ego is further explored through the Batman effect. Research found children performed better on tasks when imagining themselves as superheroes, able to tap into courage and determination. The author finds success in public speaking by channeling Professor X from X-Men through wearing glasses as a trigger. Adopting an alter ego who embodies qualities like confidence and bravery can help overcome fears that prevent taking on new challenges or completing tasks. Stepping into an alternative persona visually can help distance oneself from fears. Inertia is the third main emotional blocker to getting started, after uncertainty and fear. It's difficult to start something when you're doing nothing. To overcome inertia, we need to get over the initial hump and gain momentum. Once started, it's easier to keep going. Reducing friction in our environment and emotions can help us gain that initial momentum. Environmentally, making the desired task the default option removes barriers. For example, placing a guitar where it's easy to pick up. Emotionally, tactics like the 5-minute rule commit us to a short initial stint to start, overcoming mental laziness or reluctance. Small tweaks to default choices and reducing initial effort required can help shift our decisions towards starting the tasks we actually want to accomplish. Inertia is the final major blocker to addressing once we understand and apply these friction-reducing techniques. The 5-minute rule is an effective way to overcome procrastination. It involves committing to working on the task you are avoiding for just 5 minutes. Most of the time, around 80%, after those 5 minutes are up, people find they want to keep going. Starting is the hardest part. It's important that you do allow yourself to stop after 5 minutes if you genuinely don't want to continue. This ensures you are not lying to yourself and maintains the effectiveness of the approach. Matt Mulcahy is a successful business coach who focuses on coming up with 1, 2, or 3 actions for clients to take rather than deep contemplation. Having clear, concrete steps is important for overcoming inertia and taking action. Dr. Tim Pychyhl's key advice is to define the next action step for any task you are procrastinating on. This could be as simple as opening your book or changing into exercise clothes. It orients you towards achievable next steps rather than huge, overwhelming goals. Brandon Sanderson, a prolific author, tracks his daily word counts even when facing writer's block. Focusing on constant progress towards goals makes large tasks feel more manageable. Tracking progress in general has been shown to increase goal attainment. Progress tracking can be used for any goal, like workouts, skill learning, or exam revision, to maintain motivation by making advances tangible. The passage discusses overcoming inertia, which refers to losing momentum on projects and tasks after an initial burst of progress. Some strategies mentioned to overcome inertia include tracking progress to stay motivated, breaking large tasks into smaller steps, and supporting yourself through accountability partners or self-forgiveness. An experiment discussed is finding an accountability buddy, agreeing with another person to check in on progress and encourage each other in working towards shared goals. This utilizes social obligation and motivation to stay on track. Another strategy is practicing self-forgiveness for procrastinating or losing momentum. The passage discusses research finding that self-forgiveness allowed students to focus on tasks without shame over past failures, improving performance. A technique called Find the Win is described for self-forgiveness, acknowledging small wins or positives each day even if main tasks weren't completed, to shift focus from losses to successes. In summary, overcoming inertia means battling the tendency to do nothing by taking action, tracking progress, and creating supportive systems like accountability partners or self-forgiveness to maintain motivation long-term. Cutting yourself slack for inevitable stumbles is also emphasized. The person was feeling drained and unmotivated by their work, which had started to feel like a chore rather than something enjoyable. Their work performance was suffering as a result. They spoke to their mother, a psychiatrist, who suggested they may be experiencing burnout. At first they dismissed this idea, as they didn't think they were working extremely hard or in a stressful job. However, after learning more about the WHO's definition of burnout, they realized it can happen to anyone when work stops feeling meaningful, enjoyable, or manageable. You feel overwhelmed and unmotivated. There are 3 common causes of burnout: overexertion from taking on too much work, depletion from not taking enough deep rest breaks, and misalignment from investing energy into something that doesn't bring meaning or joy. The person realized they were experiencing elements of all 3, doing too much, not resting properly, and parts of their work no longer felt meaningful. This was affecting their mood and productivity. They realized each problem was solvable, and decided to start by addressing feelings of overexertion. Learning from LeBron James' longevity in basketball, they recognized the need to conserve energy by doing less and avoiding sprinting at all times. The author proposes keeping 2 lists: dreams, hopes, ambitions, which can be as long as you want, and active investments, limited to 5 to 7 projects you are actively working on. Active investments are things you are investing your time, energy, and focus into right now with the goal of personal growth or benefit. It's important to limit the active investments list based on your actual available time and energy. Taking on too many commitments will lead to overwhelm and lack of focus. To move a dream into active investments, you need to make sure you have capacity to dedicate sufficient time and energy to make meaningful progress on it. Saying no is important for focus but can be difficult. Some strategies proposed include adopting a hell yeah or no approach, considering opportunity costs, and avoiding saying yes too far in advance using the 6-week trap concept. Conserving energy also means resisting constant distraction. Occasional breaks are okay, but too much switching hurts productivity. Adding friction to potential distractions, like uninstalling apps, can help with focus. The key message is maintaining a balanced portfolio of goals and commitments based on your actual bandwidth, and employing strategies to help say no to things and resist distraction to optimize focus and progress. The passage discusses various techniques for limiting technology distractions and improving focus, including logging out of apps so you have to log back in, which takes 30 seconds and often deters further checking. It recommends installing tools that artificially increase loading times for apps like Twitter and Instagram by a few seconds, giving time to reconsider opening the app out of habit versus intentionally. It discusses the concept of failing with abandon, where people get totally derailed from their goals if they get slightly distracted, instead of just getting back on track. It promotes giving yourself permission to get distracted temporarily but correcting course to still reach your goals. It draws on meditation concepts of not worrying if the mind wanders and simply beginning again. Finally, it emphasizes the importance of scheduling breaks, even longer breaks than you think, like 17 minutes of rest for every 52 minutes of work. Taking breaks helps replenish self-regulatory resources and avoid burnout or mistakes from fatigue. The key is finding ways to break more during the workday. The word doomscrolling became prevalent in 2020 as people spent more time mindlessly consuming negative news and information on social media and the internet during the pandemic. Doomscrolling and other passive activities like binge-watching TV are examples of how people sabotage their downtime and don't properly recharge themselves. It's important to engage in activities during breaks that actually make you feel energized rather than more drained. Most people's instinctual downtime activities often don't match what truly recharges them. Creative activities can be particularly effective for recharging because they tap into feelings of competence, autonomy, and freedom, described as calm. As we improve our skills and have control over the creative process, it helps us disengage from work worries and relax. Making time for hobbies like writing, music, art, etc. can be a good way to recharge mental and emotional energy. The key is identifying what specific activities work for recharging each individual, and making sure to incorporate more of those into breaks and time away from regular responsibilities. This helps avoid depletion burnout from constantly engaging in draining behaviors instead of rejuvenating ones. Creative hobbies can help relax and recharge us when done properly as low-stakes activities separate from work. Painting is given as a quintessential calm hobby. Projects with clear beginning and end points can also provide a sense of accomplishment while allowing autonomy over the process. Learning about productivity is given as an example. Incorporating other people into hobbies and projects can further boost relaxation through social connection. Extensive research has shown natural environments like trees and forests can significantly reduce stress and boost healing. Merely viewing photographs or listening to sounds of nature for brief periods can provide benefits. It is important to find ways to integrate nature into rest and relaxation, even if just glimpses of green spaces or natural sounds, as these short connections have been shown to improve focus and energy. So in summary, the passage discusses how creative hobbies, projects, and small doses of nature can all help recharge us when properly integrated into our lives as low-stakes activities. Here is a summary of the key points about words from the passage. Taking energy from nature doesn't necessarily mean going on a long hike. It can be as simple as adding a plant or nature photo to your home. Even virtual exposure to natural sounds can have relaxing effects. Going for a short walk, even just 10 minutes, can help recharge your energy levels. Being in nature like a park is especially beneficial. Studies have shown that the environment and social context of a walk matters. People felt more relaxed and recharged after walks in parks alone or with friends on the street. It's the experience rather than steps or distance that provides benefits. Scheduling time for mindless recharging like relaxing TV can help on low-energy days when active recharging is too taxing. Mindless activities in small doses can effectively recharge you. Letting your mind wander, like during showers, can spark creative insights as the default mode network of the brain activates during rest. Scheduling or prioritizing mind-wandering time can be productive. On truly exhausted days, it's important to give yourself full permission to completely rest without feelings of guilt over lack of productivity. Following the Ryatov principle of total rest is sometimes needed. Psychologist Ken Sheldon conducted a study on hikers attempting the challenging 2,650-mile Pacific Crest Trail hike. He was interested in how their motivation changed over the long duration of the hike. While intrinsic motivation, doing something because it's enjoyable, is often seen as ideal, Sheldon recognized that extrinsic motivation, doing something for external rewards, isn't always bad. Sheldon identified 4 types of motivation on a spectrum from least to most autonomous: external motivation, pleasing others; introject motivation, avoiding guilt; identified motivation, valuing goals; and intrinsic motivation. For PCT hikers, intrinsic motivation predictably declined as the long, difficult hike went on. Sheldon was interested in what replaced it. The best predictor of hiking performance was the form of extrinsic motivation adopted when intrinsic motivation declined. Hikers who were motivated by identified motivation, valuing hiking goals, tended to persevere best. This supported Sheldon's hypothesis that not all extrinsic motivation is equally detrimental. More autonomous forms like identified motivation can still support effective long-term performance. The type of extrinsic motivation matters. In summary, the key learning is that different forms of extrinsic motivation exist on a spectrum, and more autonomous types can still support achievement even when intrinsic motivation drops off. The study looked at hikers completing the Appalachian Trail and found that those who had higher levels of identified and introject motivation were more likely to complete the difficult hike. These forms of extrinsic motivation helped sustain their progress even when facing challenges. Identified motivation, where one's actions are aligned with their values, was the only type of extrinsic motivation linked to greater reported happiness and well-being among the hikers. Misalignment burnout can occur when one's goals and actions do not match their sense of self, making them feel worse and achieve less. Intrinsic and identified motivation can help alleviate this by driving behavior through authentic alignment with one's values. The key insight is that to sustain motivation and well-being, one should work to align their actions with what really matters to them at a deeper level, beyond just external or introject drives. This promotes feel-good productivity. Thinking about one's values and life purpose can help cultivate identified motivation. Experiments like writing one's own obituary or crafting a detailed odyssey plan for the next 5 years using design thinking can help clarify one's values and priorities to reduce misalignment burnout. The radical path exercise involves imagining your life 5 years from now if money, obligations, and what others think were irrelevant. This opens your mind to different possibilities beyond your current path. Writing out a detailed odyssey plan for an alternate future can reveal if your current trajectory still excites and energizes you. It may inspire a change in direction. Values affirmation interventions identify your core personal values and have you reflect on them regularly. This can help achieve long-term goals by boosting confidence. The Wheel of Life exercise involves rating different areas of your life, health, work, relationships, on how aligned you feel currently. This provides clarity on priorities and prompts action in lower-rated areas. The 12-month celebration envisions celebrating progress made in important life areas over the past year. Describing this future helps develop concrete plans and actions for the next 12 months to make it a reality. Both the Wheel of Life and 12-month celebration techniques help turn abstract long-term values and plans into coherent strategies and specific steps for the medium-term, 1-year, horizon. This makes values and goals feel more tangible and achievable. Feeling motivated and productive in the long run requires aligning your daily decisions and behaviors with your deepest values and sense of self. Research shows that when people make authentic choices aligned with their personal values, they experience greater well-being and engagement, not just happiness but motivation to complete tasks. An effective way to do this is to think about your values not just at the level of lifetimes and years but in daily choices by setting alignment quests, 3 actions each day that move toward your desired future self in a year. Examples of daily alignment quests are working out, making progress on a writing project, calling family. This refocuses long-term goals into achievable short-term steps. Alignment experiments can also help test ideas to improve misalignment by hypothesizing a change, implementing it locally, and observing effects on mood and alignment over time through journaling. This allows exploring alternatives without long-term commitment. Through envisioning the future, reflection, and experimentation, we can continually shift our behaviors closer to what really matters and sustain motivation and productivity over the long run. It requires an ongoing process of self-discovery and learning. Here are 3 potential actions one could take today to take a step closer to their goals in a year. 1. Schedule time for planning and goal setting. Take some time today to identify specific goals you want to accomplish in the next year, whether related to work, health, finances, etc., and make a plan to work toward them. 2. Make small progress on a long-term goal or project. If there is a larger goal or project you want to achieve within a year, make some headway on it today, even if just a small amount. Every little bit of progress adds up over time. 3. Adopt a new productivity habit. Identify a new habit, like daily meditation, journaling, or staying organized, that could help you work more effectively and efficiently. Start incorporating that habit into your routine today.